Hi everyone. Tonight I have with me Todd Sargent and Bear, Diva Bear. So everyone knows about my project that I've been doing, and I'm giving away these bears to beautiful people out there that I feel need to hug something, you know. So it was about leaving just so, aren't they soft though?
They're so beautiful.
So look up Diva Enterprises if you want to know what it's all about. But you know, if you've got someone out there that is just hurting at the moment and you think that they'd love to just hug a bear, you know, just in the comments, just put their name and, you know, get back to me on this and we'll talk about it. So I'll contact you through the comment side of things. But, you know, they're so soft, aren't they?
Oh, I've not hugged a bear in years. It's beautiful. I'm going to call him Barry.
Barry?
Barry the bear. How original is that?
Well, thank you, Melissa Cooteridge, for supplying these beautiful bears for people in need, and children and adults and women and men. And tonight, well, I'm with Todd and we're going to talk about you for a change.
Barry, it's all about me now. Okay, so I'm just going to, you won't be far away, but it's had your moment in the sun.
So Barry, right. So Barry's had his moment, all right.
Barry's had his moment in the sun.
So I had a conversation with you last week and we were just talking about life and where you started. And, you know, one thing that I was surprised to hear was that you had a weight problem when you were a young man, a young boy. And I know you told me and I couldn't believe it. Mm-hmm. Did you say 157 kilos?
No, 137.
Well, I was close.
0.5.
137.5.
Yeah.
At the age of what, 10?
No, I don't think it was at the age of 10. I was always a really heavy child, and what was really interesting about that was you'd go through I call it the Cartman period, and what it would be is, oh no, he's just got some baby fat. Yes. And then you grow out of your baby fat, and then you're just big boned. And then all of a sudden you realise, no, there's some other problems. And because I was fairly tall, I carried it okay, but it was still, a lot of weight. And throughout my teenage years, it just compounded and compounded and compounded.
And you were saying to me that your parents had to get clothing made for you because you just couldn't get them generally?
Yeah, kind of embarrassing, as you can imagine. And I think I was about... we lived in a country town, so there wasn't a whole lot of options for clothing. But yeah, I think I was about 8 or 9. And it was just easier to go and get a seamstress to... And as you could imagine, it was the era of corduroy. So I had these beautiful...
Were they brown?
I had a collection. I had bottle green, brown and navy blue corduroy.
Oh, well, they were the basics, weren't they?
Quite
I mean,
the dandy.
everyone just had to have them. Even girls were having them then.
Yeah, that's right.
Corduroy was like big for us too.
It never went out of fashion for me.
No, and it just keeps creeping back in. It just changes colour on the way.
That's exactly right.
You know, so you hang on to something long enough, you know, it does come back in.
Allegedly. Yeah, but I have not hung on to those. They are long gone.
Well, I mean, most people know that I've got a shop and I'm a stylist, and, you know, my mum and I often talk about things that I'm handling at the time, like different styles and that, and my mum will say, do you not remember that I had that made for you when you were 11, or I had that made for you when you were 9? And I went, wow, and it does. It just keeps creeping back. So thankfully, it didn't creep back to you, the weight, and you... grew, like, did you have to do something about it? Or
interestingly enough, it ebbs and flows. If I don't watch it, I'm actually and I hope you're not going to make me cry here, because you're digging deep here into some of it. You know, don't make me cry, because there's no tissues around.
But we've got Barry.
We've got Barry. Oh, come here, Barry. It fluctuates. So I'm actually a compulsive eater. I'm not a big drinker, and if I have emotional things in my life, I will go straight to the pizza. So I've really got to keep a handle on it and be very mindful of it, because my weight can fluctuate. But I was about 22, and I wound up in Cairns at my heaviest. I was working at a radio station in Cairns, and it was the middle of summer and it was hot. And all of a sudden I've landed there, and this has got to stop. I've got to do something about this. Enough is enough. And that's where it started, and I did the turnaround.
So did you go and get professional help with that?
Yeah, not that I'm getting paid by Jenny Craig, but if you do want to sponsor me, I'm happy to take any phone calls. I went and did Jenny Craig, and that was the kickstart that I needed. I just needed that real discipline of process of doing it, because I couldn't do it on my own. And working weird hours as well. You know, I was working night shift in the radio station, so it was so easy to get off the air at midnight at night.
And eat a pizza.
And eat a pizza or go
and
to
you're
a...
hungry, you're famished, you're doing things like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes too, when you've got a talkback radio show, like I've experienced it myself with radio, that sometimes it can just take so much emotion out of you that you get hungry. I get like that when I'm emotional too. But I've gone the other way. I've had anorexia when I was 27. So, you know, I know what it's like to have your weight fluctuate and be mindful of what you're doing with your body too. That's the hard part, I think, is because things can happen in your life and it can sway you towards that. And sometimes it can just suck you into the vortex. And before you know it, oh wow, I'm getting back there again. So do you have like a situation where if that would happen that you'd go and seek help? Or would you just be able to control yourself?
I have a set of numbers that I can't go over. The triple digits. If I go above... So at the moment I'm at around 90... So I'm 6'2", 188 centimetres. So I'm around 92 kilos at the moment. Around October last year, I was 104. I don't like being in triple figures. Triple figures are, that's it, that really sends me to a spiral. I don't particularly like being in the 90s. So my goal weight is, for me personally, is around 88, 89. But what's interesting is, you know, you go and see the BMI. Technically, even at 88 kilos, I'm overweight. So you've got to erase that out of the situation.
Yeah, I think sometimes that can be very taunting for some people, that they'll take it and really it does affect them that way. So, you know, it's about feeling good. And, you know, like right here and now, I'm going to say, like, if you're in that situation, go to your GP, go and get some help. Like, you know, if you're not dealing with it yourself and you're finding that it's really getting to you, you know, don't be afraid to go and see a GP and tell them of what's going on, because they don't know unless you go and communicate with them. And, you know, it's okay to do that. Like, don't sit at home thinking, you know, I'm going to get through this, and you just pack the weight on, or like me, go the opposite way. And sometimes it can be so easy, and the psychological thing kicks in too, where you can get lost in the moment. And like, I was wearing really baggy clothes and things like that, but I was just a stick insect. I know it's hard to believe, but I was a stick insect underneath. But, you know, like, it's okay to actually say you've got a weight problem and to go and see someone and get some help about it. There are lots of organisations around as well that can help you. So is that what kind of got you into, or how did you start the journey of looking at men's health and mental health with, how did that start? So
if I can just touch on one thing you just said, one of the other things that I think is really important is invest in yourself. So if you find you've got a weight problem, yes, go to the GP, but you know, we'll spend money on our cars, we'll go and spend money on our houses, we'll go and spend money on a new set of golf clubs, but we won't invest in our own health. So if you get to that situation, yeah, absolutely, go and talk to the doctor, but don't be afraid to go and visit a personal trainer and say, look, I'm going to invest in myself, help me, because I couldn't do it on my own. I would love to say that I'm so disciplined that I can do it on my own, but I've gone and invested in myself. And a lot of people think, oh, personal trainer, that's all a little bit la-di-da. But sometimes if you can't do it on your own, invest in yourself.
get help.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get help other ways. Like, you know, if certain situations happen in your life, you go and get help with that. So this is the same thing, go and get help. Same difference. So from there we've gone on, and a lot of people wouldn't know that about you, Todd, either, would they? Like, it's not something you kind of like make public, is it?
No, it's not. It's and especially being a male as well, and I know that it's hard. And here's the interesting thing. There's a belief in society that being overweight is harder for women than it is for men. And I kind of believe that in a way, because one of the things that I masked it behind was, okay, well, I'll go and play football, and if you're bigger, you can tackle harder, and you can do that kind of thing. So I understand, but it is just as hard for men. I get it. If you're in that situation, you're not alone. I understand it. So, it's tough. It's one of those things, but it's something, luckily, you can do something about, and it's not easy, but you can do something about it.
Oh, there's wonderful stories of people that have achieved so much, you know, by going out and getting help and eating healthily and looking and getting a group of people around them to work with them. I think that's important too. Sometimes, like, You cannot do it on your own. Well, you can if you're disciplined, like you say, but a lot of people do
That's
need
a rarity,
help,
though, that's being that disciplined. So, and what do they say? You become the 6 people you surround yourself with.
Exactly.
And I really believe that.
Me too. Just have to think about it.
Think about who's going to get struck off the list. You've got these friends going, oh my God, I'm about to get wiped off the list. Don't blame me for that. It was going to happen anyway, sooner or later. So, getting back to your question. So, I've got to say, this is unusual because normally I'm asking the questions.
I know. How good is it?
And I'm out of my comfort zone because normally I ask the questions. But
yeah.
So getting back to your question about my involvement with men's health and men's issues in general. I suppose from starting my career many years ago as a midnight to dawn radio announcer, people would ring up, and they generally ring up and they'd ask to request a song, and then see what I can do for you. And then maybe the next night they'd ring up and go, oh look, can I request another song? And they'd gradually, get to know you a little bit better. They'd turn around and get involved in a little bit more conversation. And then you, all of a sudden they'd start to pour their soul out to you. You know, you're this radio announcer, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm a believer that, probably 2-3 o'clock in the morning, if you've got some problems or if you're awake, it's a witching hour, it's a horrible time of the day.
And you're connecting with a song too, which, would flood the memories back and maybe a situation, and you just start thinking about it. And I can understand totally how they get to that stage.
So it made me think, wow, and of course women would ring up as well, but I started to think about men, and it would take them a while to just get comfortable to broach a subject and go a little bit further and a little bit further. And that was really the start, and throughout my life I've looked at the fact that men, there are a lot of services, there are a lot of clubs, there are a lot of support groups for women, but I think generally men have gone by the wayside because thankfully it's 2019, we've changed in the last 10 years, but prior to that it was that attitude of, man up, stiff upper lip.
Men don't cry.
Men don't cry. And I'll tell you an interesting story, and I told this story on Sunday, that at my grandfather's funeral, my father's father's funeral, my grandmother had my dad's hand, she was right hand, and my uncle in the left hand, and apparently Dad said to me, my grandmother whispered, don't cry, sergeants don't cry. And you're like, wow, I'll burst into tears in a heartbeat. And
our times have changed, thankfully, that it's okay to cry, it's okay to show emotion, it's okay to ask for help. And I think too, there's a lot of men out there now that are starting to feel okay about talking to their partners about things too.
Yeah.
Whereas once upon a time, that was taboo. You don't share that with your wife or your girlfriend or your partner. You can go to the doctor and tell the doctor.
Oh yeah, good luck with that. Like, how many men are going? Like, seriously, one in 10,000. So I suppose that's better than none in 10,000. But I know what you mean.
Times have changed. It's more acceptable now to show emotion. For a man to show emotion, far more acceptable.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I'll give you your thought, and here's where a lot of men get confused, and I kind of agree with it. I think there is a limit. Remember when we heard during the 80s. The snags, the sensitive new age guys, I think that was the biggest crock of BS that I've ever heard. Because what happened with it was, and I don't blame women, but I blame the time. And, but generally women would go, oh, I want a sensitive new age guy. No, you don't. No, it was a lie right from the start. It was a nice concept. But
it's something different.
Yeah, well, it was a stretch from the yuppie, I suppose. But a sensitive new age guy, so guys are sitting there and they're going, what the hell is a sensitive new age guy? And they're trying to work that out. And I believe, and this could be controversial, and there's going to be people that will agree or disagree with me, but I think when it comes to men showing emotion, I think there's a formula, but men never get that formula. And what that formula is, yes, it is okay to show emotion, it's okay to cry to a certain extent. And I think that if you do too much of that, there is always that stigma that, he cries, but he cries too much. And guys are sitting there going, where do I sit in this grand scheme of things? And they're confused. And it's not a case of boo-hoo, it's a pity party for men, but it's realising that, and especially now, men still don't know where they sit in that matrix of life. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
They're unsure of how far to go, and so they're generally, when you're unsure about what to do, you do nothing.
That's right. So I believe that you started a closed Facebook page for this very reason, as a way of men being able to talk to each other. So it's a private page, and it's on Facebook, and it's basically for men to converse with each other and share each other's problems. And is that what it's about?
It is. There's a bit of history to this. So one of the things that I discovered probably in the last 10 years, that for some unknown reason people would come to me and talk to me. I was the guy that they would come to, and my friends, and we'd have some great conversations. And I started to wonder why. Maybe it's because I work in radio, maybe because I'm a communicator, I don't know. But I started to think, wow, that's interesting. And I started to hear the stories and understand. And the stories started to resonate, and they became very similar. Different people, kind of different situations. So I thought, there's not a lot out there for men in relation, apart from like a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but a support group for men. An informal kind of support group. So I came up with a concept, and the name was Man Up Today. And the concept was, it wasn't come on, man up, it was man up today, come on, up you get. But I never felt quite comfortable with it. And you know when you do something and you go, I know what I want to achieve, but the name...
It's got to feel right.
It didn't feel right, and I tried to create a web page and a community, but it never worked. And there was this situation where, so I let it have a slow death, but it bubbled away, the concept bubbled away. And I'm thinking, I need a name that says what it's about. And so after years of trying to run name ideas around, I came up with the name Blokes Matter. Now,
and that just says it all. I mean, it's a great marketing strategy, because that's what you've got to do. You've got to look for a title that actually says what you are doing. And that says it all, doesn't it? Blokes matter.
Yeah, women matter, kids matter, but blokes matter as well. And I think the whole idea is that without getting into the politics of gender and male and female and that kind of thing, because that's not what we're about, but the reality of it is, blokes matter as well. And it was just a nice, casual, it's not militant, it's not out there banging a drum, it's just saying, hey, blokes matter.
Yeah, you've got a place to vent.
Yes. Yeah.
So if someone is out there tonight and they're watching this show and they're wanting to get onto this page, how do they go about doing that?
Really simple. All you've got to do is go to Facebook and type in Blokes Matter, and it will come up. It's a closed page. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me, why is it a closed page? A couple of reasons. I threw it open to the guys and I said, look, how do you feel about this? Do you want it as an open page? Do you want it as a closed page? And they came back and said, look, if we're going to pour our heart out with other guys, if we're going to look for that community of men, we'd like to know that what we're saying stays with our group.
I think it's sensible.
Well, it is, but unfortunately, Kelly, you've got a situation. I have come in for a fair amount of stick from a few going, well, why is it closed? What are you hiding? We're not hiding anything.
Yeah, there's nothing there hidden. I mean, I think, like if, just say I was a bloke. I mean, I'm a man, but if I was a bloke.
Yeah, in man.
Man as in surname only, and, I play on that a lot. But, if I was a guy and I joined a page and it was about me venting, I think I'd want the security that not everyone's going to be seeing it. And I would tend to vent more and be more open with the situation in more detail, because you know that not everyone's got access to it.
No, that's right. And it's interesting about the venting. I've put in some fairly tough rules at the start. First rule was no hate speak.
Yeah.
I don't have it. It is so important because I'm okay if the guys want to get on there and explain what's happening in their life. And let's face it, frustration comes into it. But I want a situation where there is no hate speak against women. Tell your story by all means. But there's going to be no hate speak. So please, here's one of the challenges, and there's a term that I hate at the moment, and it's another story for another day, but it's toxic masculinity. And it's so hard. And no matter what happens, any time a man acts in a certain way that's aggressive or out of frustration, there's a certain group that go, there you go, toxic masculinity. So what I've said to the guys is, look, we can change the world. We can change what people think about men and the struggles they're going through. But what we've got to do, I'm a believer, sometimes it's not what you say, it's the delivery method. And if we can get our message across in a more measured way, people will start to take notice. We won't just be angry man shaking fist at the sky. So no hate speak, keep down, that kind of thing. I didn't want it to be a situation where women were degraded even in the way that we referred to partners, etc. So it's been really interesting because now the men will actually pick themselves up and they might go off on a rant on something and then you'll get, oh sorry, that was a bit...
Edit.
Yeah, and they're coming back and they're going, sorry guys. But what's happening with Blokes Matter is, I'm the creator and I think that sooner or later someone who's got the ability has to stand up and do it. And I'm very lucky, being breakfast announcer on 2NURFM. I've been on the radio for 33 years. I've been in Newcastle for...
33 years?
I know. I moisturise.
Wow.
I know. It's amazing what moisturiser will do.
2NURFM, great station by the way.
Thank you so much. I've been back in Newcastle since about 1991 and I've worked at a lot of different stations. So luckily I have a profile that not a lot of men have. So I can be the driver or I can be the leader of the group. But at the end of the day, it's the men who control the topics. I oversee it a little bit because we have some rules and regulations in there. But I'm there just to set agendas and directions and say, hey, what about this? What about that? What about the other? But all of a sudden the men are taking ownership of it and they're throwing up questions. How do I deal with this? How do I deal with that? I'm feeling very down because this happened. And what I'm doing is I'm taking a step back and I'm letting the men, the blokes, interact with each other.
Which is important.
It is. It's very important.
So how many members would you have on there?
We have about 1,100.
Wow,
which is
that's
really cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Now, not all of those 1,100 are active. A lot of people sit back, and what's really interesting, you'll see a comment come through from one of the blokes, and you go, I haven't seen that bloke before. And what they're doing is they're sitting back and they're going, I just want to see what this group's about.
Well, they're probably getting a lot from that, from reading. Maybe they're not the vocal type. Maybe it's just they're absorbing what other people are saying, so that's certainly assisting them in their own world. So, a lot of people are like that, where they don't want a voice, but they just want to read and absorb and assist that way. So, I'm sure there'd be a lot of people out there to be getting so much from it just from looking at it.
I hope that's the case. And I've got a couple of things that I want, and I say to the guys, look, yes, it is a closed page, but what I want is I want a situation where if you accidentally left that page up on the screen and your wife, your mum, your daughter, your sister, your workmate came by, I want them to come by and if they have a look and go, wow, how good is that? How needed is that? And, you want a situation where they're getting value from it. And where I'm really lucky is that my female Facebook friends, people who've listened to me on the radio for a long number of years and have seen what I do on Facebook, the ladies have been so supportive of me, so it's been really easy. I've started this venture and the ladies on Facebook who know me go, okay, I know what Todd's about. I know what he stands for. I know, his direction. And
that's about trust and respect, isn't it?
But how wonderful is that, And the women, a lot of the ladies, the women are getting their guys, they're giving their guys the push to go and do that. So it's pretty special. I'm very lucky and the guys are lucky.
And talking about special, because one thing that I know, that you've recently got your pilot's license.
Yeah.
And I was chatting to you about that, and your dream is to travel to remote areas.
Yeah.
And what's the dream there? Because
Okay.
I don't want to tell it all. It's your story to tell.
Kelly has just given my secret away. Thank you very much. Yeah, it was top secret. No, I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
Geez.
So the long term.
You heard it here first.
That's right. Breaking news. So moving through 2019, we'll be having our first Blokes Matter gathering. within the next couple of months or so, and I want to do that at least on a monthly basis. But my long-term dream, if you're a company, if you're an organisation that would like to give me a bit of a hand, eventually I would like to fly to regional areas and do a day hop. Take the Blokes Matter message to small towns.
Oh wow, that's incredible.
Jump in a little plane, fly out there and set up in a CWA hall or a community hall and get the farmers to come in and just, put on a barbecue and just have a chat and close the doors and get the conversation happening. So that's
fabulous.
It's I call it the pie in the sky dream, but that's where eventually I would like to take it, where we can take the message in a very casual and a very safe way.
Well, you've got to have a dream, haven't you? This is living the dream for me.
Yeah.
I've had the dream since I was 14 to do this, and finally I just got up one day and did it. And I don't even know how it all happened, but I'm here.
That's right. And you're doing it, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's right. And the thing is, people have said to me, how do I do it? You just do it. It may not be fantastic the first time you do whatever, and I'm sure you might look back on some of the things and you go,
I don't even want to look back at some of them.
I listened back to one of my air checks when I started at the age of 17, my first days in radio. And I'm just, you could give me all the money in the world. You are not going to get a listen to that little squirrely voice. It was horrendous. So, but you move on, and then if you don't take one step, the second step doesn't follow.
Well, the thing is, you don't learn the lesson. So if you're perfect in every way, you'll never learn the lesson. So, me starting up and making mistakes in the very beginning, some of the shows I look at now, and I really didn't have any idea. I had a vague idea, but I thought I'll just go with the flow. And then I thought, well, if I didn't do it that way, I would never have learnt from that to now what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
I had to go through that process. You don't start off perfect.
You never. Here's the thing: in 33 years of radio, okay, I have never had a program where I've come off and gone, it's perfect. And the thing is also authenticity. People can cut through the BS. If you're authentic, they don't care whether your lounge is leather, whether it's fabric. They don't care. If you're authentic and your message is genuine, then they're okay with it. And sometimes we go hunting for this perfection, and what we do is we worry about the look, but the message isn't there.
And talking about the message, because every week, and we're getting on with time now, but each and every week when I have a guest on my show, I ask them to look through the camera there and leave a message of hope. So just say if there was, and we're talking about Blokes Matter here.
Yep.
So just say if there was a gentleman now sitting at home and he's watching this show, and if you wanted to give a message of hope to someone out there about, blokes' health, men's health.
Yep.
Or I'm sure you've been rehearsing a message.
No, I haven't been rehearsing.
Oh, that's great.
You didn't
From the
tell
heart.
me anything. You didn't. I'm being put on the spot here, and people are going to expect, because I'm a radio announcer, I'm going to pull something out of the air. Barry, what am I going to say? Barry's going to help me out here. So how long have I got? Because radio people can talk on.
Yes,
forever.
I know.
And give me a time limit. I need a time limit.
Well, you've got, say, 3 minutes or 4 minutes.
3 minutes?
Yeah, 4 minutes.
Okay, I think I can do something.
Yeah, can you
in
do that?
So,
Okay, this will be profound.
well, hopefully it will be. What would I say to guys listening and watching today? You're not alone. First and foremost, it doesn't matter whether you're a bricklayer, my dad was a bricklayer, whether you're a carpenter or a baker, whether you work in a department store or an accountant, it doesn't matter what you do. You're not alone, and everybody has the same problems that you have. And sometimes we get to a point where we think that I'm the only person who has this problem, whether it's a relationship breakup, whether it's mental health issues, whether it's depression. Guys, I have been on in my life medication for depression. I've gone through periods of that, and what a lot of people think is they might tune in to the radio show in the morning and I'm there to be happy and I'm there to be vibey, and 9.9 times out of 10 I am, but I'm human. And there are days when I'm dealing with issues in my life. So you're not alone, first and foremost. Secondly, a conversation can change a life. I'm a firm believer in that. All you've got to do is just start the ball rolling. I'd love you to join Blokes Matter. Head to Facebook, just do a search of Blokes Matter, click on the link, and we'll join you into the group. But it doesn't matter how you go about getting that conversation started. If you've got mates, go and organise a coffee, or go and have a beer, go and have a game of golf, go and have a game of tennis, but reach out. If you don't feel comfortable talking to your mates, as you said, go and have a chat to your GP, but above all, be honest.
That's the key, isn't it?
Point saying, hey, how are you today, Barry or Trevor or Stephen? Oh, I'm fantastic, when you're dying inside. I understand that from a day-to-day basis, we feel we've got to put this mask on, but if you go and talk to your friends, because they don't know what they don't know. And I know it can be hard to turn around and say, you know what, I'm not okay. But it's okay not to be okay. So that would be my message. Reach out in some way, shape or form, but be honest about it, because you can't bring about change if you don't know what the problem is to start with. Now, you may not know what your underlying problem is, but start by saying, I don't feel right, I don't feel good, something's wrong, and I need help.
Communication is the key.
And I believe people say Australian men do it badly. No, they don't. They do it well when they feel comfortable in the environment they're in to do it.
Good message. Very good message. And you know, I know it's from the heart, and that's the difference, isn't it? Like when you express yourself from the heart and you appeal to people out there. Because I mean, I do this every week, and I know how hard it is to make that first move that, you know, you might be thinking it, or, you know, there comes a time when it can all get so big and just all too much for you. And know that you can talk to someone, go and talk to anyone, you know, like even pick up the phone to Lifeline.
Absolutely,
You
they do
know,
an amazing job.
That's just something that you can do for now. No one even knows, no one needs to know who you are. Like it's a start, it's a very good positive start. Pick up the phone to Lifeline, have a chat with someone, you know, and that's a first step. And, you know, if you just keep taking those first steps, eventually you'll get to the stage when you can talk about it to someone and get some help. But in the meantime, go to Blokes Matter on Facebook and send a friend request and you'll hear from them.
Yeah, click join and we'll have a look.
Yep.
And we'd love to have you as part of our group. And you're going to find that once you get there, you'll realise you're not alone, and the problems that you are having, other guys are having as well. And they are always, the support is just amazing.
And I mean, that's the key, isn't it? You're never alone. You know, there's someone there somewhere that you can talk to. So
And look, if you're unsure about it, send me a friend request. I get a lot of blokes that will send me a Facebook friend request and say, look, I've heard about Blokes Matter, tell me a little bit about it. Absolutely, there you go, and they go and have a look.
okay, well there you go. You can do that.
Reach out to me.
If you feel that that's the way you need to go that way. Or I mean, you know, put something in the comments for me, you know, that I can contact you. And you can go to my website, onthecouchwithkelly.com, and there's a little section in there that you can actually send me an email or a message, and it's highly confidential. So feel free to do that as well.
That's a good point too. Any information that comes through to me, any correspondence is 100% confidential.
It has to be.
It goes no further. It has to be, otherwise there's no trust.
Yeah, so, and, you know, something that I wanted to say, I got an amazing email last night from a gentleman that went on to my YouTube channel and saw one of my interviews, and he has sent me a message, stranger, about how it has absolutely totally changed his life, and he just wanted to thank everyone concerned. So, you know...
How cool is that?
I know!
Did you get a little bit...
Absolutely.
Did you tear up?
Yep. I'm like it now. Because this was...
Do you need...
Barry.
Barry, you're tearing up, there we go.
Oh, look, I'll tell you, it was very touching, you know, like...
Yep.
Because I always said that if I could get one person, if I could change the life of one person doing this show, whether I do it for 50 years, to me...
Job's done.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I get messages constantly. And I'm so grateful and blessed that I have beautiful viewers out there that make this show possible and keep believing in me as well. So, you know, there's some of these... I'm getting all choked up
That's
now.
okay.
So, each and every week, all the beautiful people that sit back and watch my show and support me, So I'm just going to read out some of the names tonight. So thank you, Mick Galvin, Missy D, Stuart Adams. Thank you, Stuart. I'll be interviewing Stuart in a few weeks' time. Stuart broke his back while he was riding a skateboard at a very early age, and he's never had surgery, believed enough in himself, and it's just an amazing story. Like, he's just an amazing person. So he'll be on in the next few weeks. He's now a yin yoga master.
Wow, okay.
And so
a yoga skateboarder, very cool. Very cool indeed.
I don't think he rides a skateboard anymore. So
No, you probably wouldn't, would you? You'd move on to something a bit more.
But that's Stuart. So, tune in. He'll be in the next few weeks. So, and then we've got Michelle Schultz, Karina Dendel. Thank you, Karina. Di Smitties. Thank you so much. Ian Edwards, Gary Bentley. Thank you. We had Gary on the show not that long ago.
I used to work with Gary Bentley.
Oh, there you go.
Fabulous, a wonderful man.
You'll
Great
have
man.
to watch his interview.
I will.
Yes.
He's got a better voice than I have, though.
Oh, he's got an amazing.
Hasn't he got a deep voice?
Oh, he's got an amazing.
I hate Gary
voice.
Bentley's voice. It's so deep and it's so manly.
We all want. Well, I don't want it, but radio announcers and all that would love to have.
Only
his
joking,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. We love you. So, Debbie O'Donoghue, Shireen Lowe, thank you so much. Sophia Asbestos and Sam Parker. Well, we interviewed him, dear old Sam, with Grab Life by the Balls, and what a great interview that was. Louise Melrose Hanley, Sharon Sharp, Adrian Pontifex, Kerry Ingham, James Cobb, and we interviewed James the week before, Sam Parker, and Kerry Lee. Thank you, Kerry Lee. What a beautiful woman, Kerry Lee. Like, thank you for tuning in, and thank you everyone for watching the show. Every week I say thank you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, because if I didn't have you watching, there wouldn't be a show, obviously. So bigger and better things to come, and lots of interviews with ladies on the land shortly, and I've kind of filled that in about the fire truck that we've purchased and done a bit of a reno
We've
on.
got to talk more about that
Yeah,
too, so stay tuned,
I'll be going out to interview the ladies of the land that haven't had any water for 7 years. So imagine that, girls, not being able to use your washing machine for 7 years. So, I'm going to be doing great stuff there, and I'll be filling you in on that. But until then, I'd like to say good night, and thank you so much for coming on, and knowing that no matter what in life, that you are going to be okay. So thumbs up to okay. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Good night.